Good morning. It is Monday morning. It is absolutely gorgeous outside, and we are starting something completely new. We were the ASMM Small Business Connections podcast, and now we're ASMM Marketing Moms. And it's exciting because I don't have to meet new people each week. I love meeting new people, but I get to instead speak to somebody who I speak to 100 times a day, and I get to do it publicly. So you guys get to be a fly on the wall of something that I think is really fun. I'm going to invite Anastasia, and Marketing Moms is going to be me and Anastasia. We've had this in our minds for a long time. How are you, Anastasia?
Well, thank you.
We were laughing because we're in the same office right now. We're just in different rooms,
Mhm.
but we're talking side by side through StreamYard. So I'm excited about this. Are you excited or are you nervous?
Oh, I'm a little nervous. Like you've done a lot of these, and this is like, I mean, I was on it a couple weeks ago, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think it's going to be fun. So I was thinking about it this morning and what we're trying to do. And what we're trying to do, I said the last podcast was a podcast by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. That was our tagline. This one I think is marketing made easy,
Mhm.
because a lot of people jump into marketing and they think, oh, I know what to do. But they then look or they talk to somebody and those people start spouting things about ROI or SEO or CRMs and all of these things. And they get flabbergasted. They don't know
Mhm.
what to do. And so I thought, if we do this, we can make it easy. We can do exactly what we do with our clients, which is to explain it in a way. I was thinking about SEO. We don't talk about SEO here. We talk about points, right?
Mhm.
You get
Yeah.
points for doing the things right. So I was thinking that's kind of the fun part about this. I want to remind everybody you can ask questions. We're here. And so here's the thing, you can ask questions. And if we don't answer them on this episode, we may use it for a future episode, because each of these it's pretty laid out. But at the same time, our goal is always to put this out there in a way that helps you. So if you have a good question, we want to answer it. If it's about marketing, we want to answer it. And if we don't know the answer, we'll come back to you with it. We are streaming live right now. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, but later this afternoon, it's going to be up on Spotify and Google and iTunes and anywhere else you listen to your podcast. So please do subscribe. It's really important. I want to introduce us. I said we're Ann and Anastasia, but Anastasia, you tell everybody what we do.
So we are a digital marketing agency. I would say our bread and butter right now is social media. But then we also do email marketing and website design and just really anything that's digital. We have access to a great a team that can do a lot of different things. So even if we might not have somebody in-house, we have somebody that we work very closely with that can help do
It's
anything
funny.
really.
It's funny the way you just described that, because Blaze got, for those who don't know us, my husband is Blaze. Anastasia's husband is Kurt. So you will hear a little bit about them as we're going through this. But he said to me this weekend, what would it take for you to be a marketing agency? I was like, but we are a
So
marketing agency. That's what we are. We are a marketing agency. We do focus on digital, but
Mhm.
it's not completely what we do. And that goes to that idea of, where did I put it? I put it here. Marketing isn't one thing, it's everything. So if you
Mhm.
look at our logo and you see that circle, it comes from the fact that I speak with my hands. And when I first started this business, I would say to people, well, okay, it all works together. You have to do your website and your social media and your email marketing, and you have to put your graphic design in there and your branding. All that goes together to make something much bigger. And that's what we tell our clients. I mean, that's the biggest thing I think that people need to get.
I think that a lot of times people get confused and they think of like a marketing campaign. And really, what that swirl represents to me is marketing in general. Like, you can't really just do one thing because you're only exposing yourself to that particular audience, whereas people are in multiple different places. So that's why we talk about, you have to have a good website. If you have an email list, you should be utilizing it. It's very,
Even if it's
very,
only 10 people,
yes,
right?
definitely. Like if you have emails, you should be using them. And then having your social media. And I don't think that I mean, we're obviously focused on digital, but we're capable of doing print and advertising if we needed to. But it just depends on the client and what their needs are. So what your business does will kind of dictate where you should be.
Absolutely. And you know, you do want to focus. You don't do want to say, okay, well, I want to do social media, but you don't want to be so focused that you forget something else. So we just had a
Mhm.
conversation last night. One of our clients had a grand opening this weekend, and it was wonderful. And the more time we spent with her yesterday during her grand opening, the more last night we had actually a team dinner, which is funny because we weren't really working, but we still ended
Yeah.
up working. Because as we sat there, we were like, she really needs to have a press release. We really need to get her in front of people because she does something so, we'll talk about her actually. We'll just go ahead and put it out there. So it's called Stardust Deluxe. It's a really small, brand new shop in Annapolis, Maryland. And what's cool about it, there's a bunch of things that are cool about it, but one of the things that's cool about it is that she has spent years in costuming in Hollywood. So she was on House of Cards. She was the costumer for House of Cards for Madam Secretary. Well, you had the list. What are some of the other
I did.
things?
The Practice was on there, and there was some movies, but I can't remember exactly what they are now. But House of Cards, and I told you last night, I'm like, House of Cards and Madam Secretary for me had the best wardrobes of any TV show. The women in those shows. So it was exciting to
Absolutely.
see the actual clothing in the store yesterday.
Yeah. And she's
From
got
the
this
shows.
way of helping you. I hate shopping. I
Hmm.
hate it. But she has this way of helping you be comfortable and maybe step outside of your comfort zone a little bit, right? So she'd hold up something and I was like, oh, I'm not going to wear that. And she's like, trust me. And I put it on, it would look great. But one of the things as we're talking about her is because she's got this background and because some of the items she has in the shop are things that she has gotten from these shows or from these movies that she's been in, it's a unique opportunity. And she's a
Hmm.
business owned woman opening a shop during the middle of a pandemic. And so she's got all of these things. So the idea here is that, yes, we want to do social media marketing. We want to put her out there on social media a lot. We want her to be on Google a lot. But that doesn't mean we can't put her in the paper and get her in some local magazines and look for some other opportunities to get her out there.
This
Yeah,
is a great example of our unsolicited advice because we were hired to do her social media. So
yes,
we're not hired to do her public relations, but we were
exactly.
kind of like, oh, you know what? This is what we need to do as well. Like we were talking about it in regards to our strategy and what we're going to do with her campaign, but then at the same time we're like, well, why stop there? Let's get her some more exposure.
Exactly. Well, and one of the things I thought about with her, we're just going to go back to her because she was on my mind so much yesterday, is something that people wouldn't think of marketing at all, which is she needs to join a chamber of commerce.
Mhm.
Well, why? Because they're going to do not a grand opening, but a ribbon cutting. And when they do, they bring other people from the local chamber to your store for that ribbon cutting, right? So it gives you a whole other opportunity to meet other people in your community and market your business. So it goes back to that whole it works together, right? And
Definitely.
then, by the way, we're out there taking pictures to put on social media. So it comes
Mhm.
back. And then guess what? That'll also go on our website, right? So
Mhm.
it works together, which is what this podcast is going to be about, is how you put all those pieces together.
Definitely. I mean, it
So
can be very overwhelming in that. And so when we talk about marketing, I mean, it's very exciting for us. This is what we do. We love helping businesses, and we have a lot of clients, and we're on a lot of teams because we consider ourselves to be joining the client's team. They're not joining our team. Like we're like their kind of in-house marketer. So we really get a lot of pleasure out of helping people, and it's a lot easier for us. So when we come down with this list and we're like, oh, this is simple, but that's because we know what we're doing. So the
right.
whole goal with this podcast was to help people in little bite-sized pieces figure out how to do it for themselves. And then if they're like, I don't want to do it, then they can give us a call and we'll do it
Right.
for you.
Exactly. And actually, you saw that I put our names back up on the screen.
Yeah.
I did that, Anna and Anastasia. I put it back up there again because you say that all the time. We live up here, right? We are like,
Yes.
you and I are 100 miles an hour doing things. And for us, it is exciting. For us, it's like, oh, and let's add this into the pot and this into the pot. It's again like cooking. It's just a lot of things mixing together. So it's I think what's going to make this podcast fun is this opportunity to listen to us talk in a way that people are going, oh my God, do they talk like that normally? And yes.
Yes.
Yes. We're going 100 miles an hour all the time.
We're already, you know what though? I feel like I'm like talk a little slower. Like if you think this is fast, this is nothing. Like when we actually are having conversations, it's like all over the place and much quicker.
Exactly. Well, and the funny thing, I laugh. You'll walk into my office and say something that is completely not what I'm working on. But I immediately know, oh, here's where we're going now, right?
Yep.
And I think vice versa. We both get that. We're like, oh, I know exactly where we're going here. So I want to talk a little bit because this is going to be each of these episodes is going to be pretty short. This one will be particularly short because we're not digging deep into anything other than I do want you to go back and listen to what we said, which is it all works together. And you've got to think a little bit outside of that comfort zone where you are. So if you're doing social media, that's great. What other bits can you pull into that? So I want you to take that away today. But as we go forward, there will be bigger things we're talking about. So on the next episode, we're going to talk about branding. And that's so much more than everybody thinks it's, oh, we're rebranding. It's our new logo, right? Or it's our new colors. And do you want to explain a little bit about branding?
Well, I don't want to give too much away. They need to come back next week. But, your brand is not just what you look like. It's who you are and the presence, your presence in your community, regardless of whether you're a plumber or an attorney or, a physical therapist, you should have a brand. And that is, and we'll delve deeper into that, like who you are, what you stand for, and what you want people to know about you.
Absolutely. Yes. And we're going to dig into that next week. So come with pencil and paper. There will be a test at the end. Actually, there won't, but there should be. Come and really take notes next week because what we're going to give you is stuff that we give our clients in our first meeting. Because a lot of times we'll have a branding meeting and people have been in business for 15 years. And we ask them a simple question like, what are 5 adjectives that describe your business? And they go, and they can't do it. And it's because they haven't taken the time to learn their brand, to understand their brand. They don't even know what they're putting out there for people. So actually it occurred to me, and I'm just saying this publicly for the first time, and I'm just saying it in front of Anastasia for the first time, which is
this is how I find out everything.
Exactly. We are more of an agency in that a lot of times people will hire somebody to do their SEO, and then they'll hire a graphic designer, and then they'll hire somebody who's doing their radio ads, and then they'll hire maybe somebody to do their social media marketing. And none of those people talk. But what we do is bring all of those people together.
Yeah,
right.
We do have a few clients now that are just starting off with new businesses, and it's great to get in from the ground level because it's more difficult. It's not impossible. I mean, it's definitely possible to rebrand yourself and to change the message that you're giving out there. But when you're starting from the beginning and able to help people grow, it's very exciting for us. It's like watching a little baby take its first steps, and we like I said before, we have like a really good network of people in this whole marketing industry that can give. So if we don't have it right here in house, we know exactly who to take it to. So and that's right with that, like having those clients where we're kind of like the liaison, waiting for our social media, email marketing, stuff like that to start. But we've got all these other things in the background that we're doing as well. So connecting those people.
And then you've got that whole brand running through all of it. Instead of me over here talking about something that maybe your SEO guy's talking about something completely. We've had that happen. We had
Yeah,
a
we
client.
have it right
Yeah.
now where we have a client who is doing Google Ads, and I don't know how we found out what they were advertising, and we realized, well, wait a minute, like that is not what you've told us. And
Right.
so our social media isn't going along with that. So luckily we know the person who's doing the Google ads. She's given us the keywords that they're using for searching. And so now we can retarget our social to make sure that we're covering those keywords as well. You know, there's the things that we think are important, but then there was a whole other side of this person's business that we didn't realize. And now we were able to kind of focus in on that as well.
Absolutely. So, you know, I'm going to say this, and this is not a shameless plug for ASMM. So you can hire any marketing company you want, but I do want to say that what you will find by working with a marketing company, as opposed to just completely doing it on your own, is that they are not in your business and they can see what you can't. Which means, you know, Anastasia, you're great at this. When we look at a website and you look at the website and go, doesn't say anything about what they actually do,
Mm-hmm.
right? You've got that way of looking at it in a way and going, okay, well, this isn't what they actually do. This is not what they're telling us they do. And so we're able to see what you're not seeing because you're in it and you're like, well, of course, this is what I do. I
And I think
understand that
that's
this
where
widget
the
builds
next
that widget.
episode, I think that's where the next episode becomes so important, and understanding your brand, like really taking the time to sit down and understand your brand and what you're offering, and then being able to take a better look at everything that you're doing to make sure that everything is on brand and
Yes.
it's accurate, you know, because a lot of people, we have one client who got a new logo like, I don't know, 4 years ago, and I went to his website, it's still got the old logo on it. I'm like, what was the point? What was the
Right.
point of
Well,
spending that money?
exactly. And that's an example of not having your eggs working together, right? Your eggs in
Mm-hmm.
one basket. You don't want that in general, but you do here want to know that everything's working together. And this is a company that we don't do their website. They have a different
Mm-hmm.
person who does their website who doesn't talk to us. So we
Mm-hmm.
don't know what they're doing, right? And so those
Yeah.
examples it's really important that you've got your marketing team
Mm-hmm.
built and that they're all talking to each other.
I think that some companies feel threatened, and they think that if they are going, you know, like, oh, they're working with them, they're going to try and take their business away from, they're going to try and put all their money in social media and take it away from SEO. And I think that's where we differ, because we're like, no, everything has importance and everything has value. And if the client is willing to, you know, spend what they need to spend in all the different places, let's just work together to make it the best for the client. You know, I think that certain businesses get a little narrow-minded and they're thinking of themselves versus thinking of the big picture. You know, like, we will
Absolutely.
definitely work with other people, because at the end of the day, our goal is to make sure that the client is successful, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's something that we talk about a lot. It's actually, you know, you know this. I just went through the Goldman Sachs program and we had a negotiations clinic. And it was such an eye opener for me because I always thought, well, I don't really think of my competitors as competitors. I think of them as people I have the opportunity to work with for
Mm-hmm.
my clients, right? Not to say that I don't have competition. I do, but I also know that I could pull in somebody who looks like competition to do a certain portion of the work that we do and we could work
Mm-hmm.
together. But at all this marketing or this negotiation clinic, as part of it, we went into a negotiation where we were meant to buy a specific thing. And so for me, it had to do with basically this thing that looked like an avocado, but it was a pear. But it looks like an avocado and it acts like an avocado. Everything about it is. But there are only 100 of them in the world. And I needed it because um, my company was a pharmaceutical company, and we used it for a drug medicine for kids with cancer. But I was going up against two other people, and in the end, when we went into negotiations in this class, we couldn't make it work. We could not give them enough money. They're like, no, this is how much money we need, and none of us bid high enough to do it. Well, when we came out and we said, well, it didn't work. And almost nobody in the group, out of all the different groups, actually got to an agreement in the end. And the reason was that nobody was thinking inclusively. None of them were thinking, oh, let's work together. And it turned out that I needed the pit of the avocado or pear. Somebody needed the flesh and somebody needed the skin. Right. And so when you're doing these marketing things, if you can get your people to realize that we can all work together, because I don't do SEO. Right. I have a team that I can bring in for SEO, but I don't do that. I don't do graphic design. I have a team that I bring in for graphic design, and that's okay. We can all work together. So if somebody comes to your marketing company and says, hey, I'm working with this marketing company, don't get all, bent out of shape. Think about how you might work together and do that again in the future. So, yeah. Anyway, all right. So next week we will talk about branding. Each week we're going to dig a little deeper into what we do and how we do it for our clients. But we do want to go back to that streaming live portion of this, which is to say, if you have questions, you can leave a comment either on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. We will see those comments and we can answer them live here, or we might make an entire episode of them going forward, or we might put it into what we're trying to build right now, which is our education portion of ASMM, which is online for ASMM. Oh, what is it? ASMMcampus.com, or our live events that we're going to be having coming up, our live tutorials that we're going to be having. So there's so many ways that you asking questions can help us and then can come back and help you. That's what we're looking forward to. I want to remind you, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, okay, but I'm only listening to you once a week and I really want to learn a whole lot more than my once a week, then we have a ton of information over on our blog. And that's asmmdigital.com/blog. If you go over there, you will find us. You will find 1,000 different things. I love my blog. It's been up. It's been going on for a couple of years. We put it up every Monday. So there's so much information. You can get so much there. So please do go over there. Please do subscribe to this, subscribe to our YouTube, and tell your friends about us, because I think this is fun.
Yes.
So was it more fun than you thought, Anastasia, or less fun?
No, the whole idea of the online and the podcast, and I'm sure I'm never going to listen to it, but once we get started, once I get started talking about it, I'm just excited, and I love marketing. I remember in college I was a biological sciences major, and then I wasn't really loving it, and I went and took a marketing class, and it was like, the skies open, and I was like, this is it, I love marketing. I love small businesses and helping them and doing that. So I think once I get started talking about that, then I'm fine. It's the other stuff
Yes,
that
absolutely. Actually, and this is one of the things I think that's going to be fun about this podcast, is that you and I get so excited about things. So yes. I'm going to make a confession, because confessions are what we do, what I do a lot. But you and I, so Anastasia and I went to a potential client a couple of weeks ago, and we walked in, and one of the first things he did was tell us about this, I'm just going to say it, dumb thing he had done, which is to let somebody on his staff do his social media and then not get the logins to that social media. So he lost them. Anastasia and I got incredibly excited and started talking about, oh, okay, well, this is how we're going to get them back, and these are the things we're going to do. What are we going to, and I just watched him, and I don't know if you saw his face, but his face was like almost shock of what is happening in front of me right now, because oh my God, they've just run with everything.
Yeah, and we do.
I think that's what people are going to get excited about with this show, is they're going to be like, oh, I'm just listening to Anna and Anastasia do their thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, it's overwhelming, and I feel for Whitney and Jordan when they're in the office and we get our little, we go on our little tangents, because there's never, we have like 5 conversations going on at one time, and we just pick them up whenever.
Exactly.
We're like, oh yeah, back to that. I know we were talking about it 3 days ago, but yeah, so I think that it will be fun, and I hope that it's fun for our viewers and our listeners, and yeah.
Yeah, and I hope they learn a lot from it. So,
Mhm.
all right, everybody, we will see you next Monday, same time, same place. And please tell people about it, because I do think this is going to be great for small businesses. And we are only going to speak in a way that you'll understand. We're not going to use
Mhm.
acronyms. We're not going to use terms that you have to go and look up. We're going to say it to you in a way you're going to be able to put it to work for your business. So, all
Mhm.
right, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.